Hey everyone! So I wanted to go over this part of the lesson again just to make sure that you guys have this information down. So what I did was I went through and I went and found the, ooh, that was a glitch, went and found the words that we had highlighted and I rewrote them so they're a little bit easier to see. Now on yours it'll be kind of hard to see. If you want to write on this paper and make it so that you can read it, I'm totally fine with that. Just know that I have kind of put them on here for you so that you can see them. So I have react, and we think about reacted. So the way that we react to certain things tells a lot about us. So in this case, we kind of replaced it with the idea of reacted, like, oh, did you react good? Did you react bad? Like, how is it that when something happens, you react to it? So in this case, we're define react as like the way in which you respond to something, and that's one way that we can define that word. The other word we have is determines. So this one, the way that you use three key players in your brain, determines, guesses, thinks, tries, how you respond to everything that happens around you. So in this case, when I say determines, I can replace it with one of these words and it should work. So the way you use the key players in your mind guesses how you'll respond or reacts how you respond to these different things. So we've defined that word as thinks or as the way in which you respond to certain things. So we have reactive, which is respond. We have determines, which is also kind of like a response to it. The next one we have is situation and situations. So if we talk about emergencies and stressful situations, we have problems. And if we have handling every situation or problem and have more time to enjoy life. So those sound like pretty good ideas to me. The next thing we're going to move on to is the prefrontal cortex, and I'm going to do something to my screen to make it look bigger, so just give me 1 second. So as you can see, I've zoomed in on this part so that way I can... The first word that I can't really understand is prefrontal cortex, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to actually highlight that one for you guys. So I don't know what prefrontal cortex is. Alright. The next one they have is thoughtful decisions. The word decisions was one that we didn't know. And the last one was calculations, was a word we did not know. So if you talk through a problem or if you talk through staying focused, we didn't really have very many words that we did not know after that. Now again, this is going to be a really easy exercise for you guys to be able to do, but the one that we're coming up on learning is going to have words that are a lot harder than this, so I wanted to go through this part of it with you. So I'm going to write down prefrontal cortex, decisions, and calculations in my notebook. And again, I'm going to pause, and then I'll just happen to have this done for you. Okay, so like I've said, I've put these 3 words on our notebook. What I'm going to do is at the very, very top, I'm going to label this as page number 1, because we're looking at that. And we have our prefrontal cortex, our decisions, and calculations. Oh, I think it was supposed to be calculations up here and decisions down here. But that's okay if you've mixed them up, because I did it based on the ones that I saw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another circle around this. Oops. Draw another circle around the prefrontal cortex, so that way I can write my definition or my, I want to call them like signal words. Signal words to tell me what this means on the outside, as well as giving me other pieces of information so that I can start defining this by myself. So prefrontal cortex, PFC, I will put right here because that's what they have nicknamed it as. 1 second. Ugh. Come on, technology. Maybe. There we go. Okay, So they've nicknamed it the PFC, or prefrontal cortex. So what that says here, it says it's your ace for making thoughtful decisions, doing careful calculations, talking through a problem, staying focused on what you're doing. So that's a really long thing. I think I'm going to skip this one for right now, just because I'm still having trouble understanding what that means. So I'm going to go to my next one. My next one is decisions. So it says thoughtful decisions. Oh, okay. So I'm going to write down the word before it. It says thoughtful. And when I go, oh man, thoughtful decisions. Well, let's see. If I talk about, oh man, you know what? Mrs. Mizuno actually told me that I was doing something that wasn't a very good decision. And what was I doing in that time? Oh, that's right. I was picking my nose. So if you think about that, if that's not a thoughtful decision, or if that's not a thoughtful thing to do, I can replace that word with decisions. So let's see. And it's not going to be like picking your nose, right? It would be, oh, let's make good choices. So I'm going to replace that word with choices. All right, so now we have thoughtful choices. We have, thoughtful is usually a good word, so let's say good choices. Thoughtful, good choices. So now we have an idea of what decisions means. Ooh, sometimes we have to make decisions between getting either cake or pie. So I can use that as an example to help me figure out what decisions means. So I'll put cake versus pie, and sometimes it's one or the other, sometimes it's sometimes it's a cookie. You could either get cookies or ice cream, you could have a donut or coffee, but sometimes you can't have both. Which makes sense. I would love to have a cookie and cake and pie and everything like that. But, you know, I can't always have that. Okay, so that's how we're going to figure out the definition for decisions. So now what I have is I have calculations. Calculations, when I think about calculations, I think about the word calculator. So you guys know what a calculator is. A calculator looks like this, and maybe I don't know how to spell calculator, but I know what it looks like, so I'm going to kind of like draw it out really quick. It has little buttons. I'm going to give it more buttons. So push. And I will say, okay, whenever we see a calculator, most of the time we are dealing with math. So what kind of helper word was put before that? Oh, they said careful. Careful calculations. Careful calculations. So if I have to make careful calculations, or if I have to do careful math, it's like, oh man, I can't be making those silly mistakes. If I say 2 plus 2, I need to make sure that I have multiple different ways of calculating it. So in this case, I'm going to say that we have a way to solve for math problems. So solving math problems will totally be in calculations. So now because I've given you calculations, now because I've given you decisions, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to figure out what prefrontal cortex means, or what it does, or why it's important. Okay, so that is it for my video. If you need any other help or anything like that, don't be afraid to comment on this video or put it on Google Classroom, and I will see you guys all Monday.